Oh, I need to pull up the chat, I guess.
And we're live here on Plus One EXP, where Jason is pulling up the chat for our next session of our ongoing campaign of The Between. This is session 7, if I've numbered episodes right consistently, and if not, it's number 8. We had a whoops all night phase last time around, and then took a mid-season hiatus for a week to deal with life issues. But we are back tonight. Vyn is unfortunately not with us. A little bit of a heat issue in their locale. They're wrestling with the sun right now as we speak. But they're in the middle of a character transition also too. So we can now mourn the loss of or the leaving or the fallout of the full wolfing of Patrick before we meet the vessel next week. So really excited to have everybody back here and to be playing tonight. Let's Jason, I'm going to hand things over to you to do whatever housekeeping you want before we head into the game.
Yeah, a little bit of housekeeping. So we chatted somewhat last time about the somewhat influx state of the Limehouse Lurker threat, and I said at the time that I thought it wasn't resolved because it wasn't technically resolved per the opportunity. But having thought on it, I think it actually is resolved in a sense, in that it's no longer a threat that I think Hargrave House is going to pour resources into. And so in that sense, I'm going to operate under the theory that the Limehouse Lurker is a danger now. He's been downgraded a little bit to a danger. Still a problem, can still show up and can still be a lot of trouble. You also have other vampires from their nest that are a bit of trouble. See Julius. But for purposes of the game structure, I think that the Limehouse Lurker is resolved. And so you all can go ahead and take an experience point that you would have gotten for that. I'm also going to let you have rewards. And so I'm going to clip the rewards and pop them over into our Discord chat so that you all can see them. But I'll read them as well for folks who are watching the stream. And they are Jenny Johnston becomes a recurring side character. You get 1 extra clue on the information move when you seek her counsel about events in East London. The Man in the Sun Mask becomes a recurring side character. You get 1 extra clue on the information move when you seek his counsel about other worlds. It says, well, there is an option for the vampire to become a recurring side character, but only if you make arrangements for it to safely feed on a regular basis. We have not done that yet, and so I'm going to say for now that's not an option. Or we have 2 choices of a memento from the investigation. Ask another hunter what it is. So everybody, let's just go around and see what everybody wants.
Wes, you had strong. I know that we just said it's not on the table. We've also had some conversations around the weird shit I want my character to get up to, and I literally asked Jason the question before we go live. Look, can I just get blood sometimes when I do night work and use some of my other moves, specifically for that thing? I'm happy to put a pin in that one and not take a reward until we grab that and see what final form that takes, unless you're super interested in them being an informal specifically.
No, it's not specifically an informal. I don't think you can little people to mess with.
Cool. Yeah, I don't think, because we decided that the lurker was old, right? Wasn't it an ancient
Lurker's
vampire?
old, so it doesn't work the same way in the resolution. We've got a fictional position that's a little bit at odds with the options.
Well, I mean, it is and it isn't. I mean, like, because basically that third option is only available if it was a young one, okay. Yeah, essentially. So I just think that's. I mean, I like in the fiction that the lurker is around. You know, I just don't think it's going to come with any mechanical heft, and so yeah, I think that was probably just off the table. So that makes your choices a little easier. What do you think, B?
That depends. Does Vyn get a reward for this?
Yes.
Okay, because I have a feeling their reward might be the Man in the Sun Mask, just because of the everything.
Be a good fit for a vessel too, I feel like. Although everybody gets access to him, right?
Everybody gets access. Yeah. Like so that was my thought, was like, I would want that for the vessel and for everyone. So I'll leave that up to y'all. What are you guys thinking?
I mean, I'll make it easy. I'm just going to take a memento, I think, this time. We can ask a hunter, or we can ask chat also to populate some ideas if we want to for that.
Mm-hmm.
Check it on it.
I like getting chat's suggestions for mementos. Langfist, do you want to take Jenny Johnston or the Man in the Sun Mask?
I'll take Jenny Johnston. I think.
Sounds good.
I know because I think I wouldn't want to take that from Knox. I think Knox had more of a connection with the vampire. I know you might be taking a memento though.
Oh, I'm saying that the vampire is not on the table.
Yeah. That reward is not a reward.
Not as a reward. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Six. Then yeah, I'll just take Jenny Johnston because we're a recurring side character.
I love it.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
And you can make a note on the last tab, on the move tab where it says threat moves. You can just note her there because that's kind of functionally what she is a move, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'll take the Man in the Sun Mask and that, like, functionally in memory of Patrick.
Indeed.
And that way he's here to torment everyone.
Let's see. Okay, so we'll check back in on the memento at some point. Just make a note that you are owed a memento, either from chat or from one of us, Tony, and then we will do that for you. I think that kind of settles that part of the housekeeping. Another part of the housekeeping that we wanted to talk about is new moves. I think a couple of you are picking up new moves, maybe, or you have advancements that you want to talk about.
I am just bumping a stat instead this time. I will have a custom move at some point, but I want a little bit of time to see where a couple more things end up before I throw that one in, I think.
And CFB Power Gamer, bumping the stat is the most power game thing to do. So
yeah, but moves, I also feel like adding moves feels really good, especially with the mother, because there's so much you can just do to hound clues.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. The mother is, I suppose, the exception because the mother does have very, very power gamey.
But a custom move, I know you're just going to use less, and so I do think stats an easy way to go.
And Lord Grey, what'd you choose for your advancement?
The collection. It's a new move.
Oh, yeah. You have access to a collection of rare, one-of-a-kind objects. You get to select an item from that collection now to add to your personal quarters. If you ever use one during a sensual encounter with another hunter, erase it from your personal quarters and add it to theirs unmarked. So you can basically use it, mark it, and then give it to somebody else, and they get to unmark it. So it's pretty powerful. I love it. What are you going to choose for your first item?
God, that's so hard because, I mean, I know you guys can't see it, chat, but the list here is just delicious.
Do you want to go over a few of them, B? Also, somebody mentioned you're a little bit more quiet than everybody else.
Yes. Okay. I turned my mic up. Is this better? Fabulous. Thank you so much, Amanda, by the way. No, I think it was in the distance. It was me being not technically savvy. But so, for example, some of the things in this one-of-a-kind collection are Lot's wife. Yes, Lot's wife. Yes. Julius Caesar's blood-stained toga. Let's see. Judith's knife. An apple from the garden. Joan of Arc's ashes, Cleopatra's veil. It just goes on. I'm pretty sure the actual Holy Grail is on here. The whole ass Holy Grail.
Just sitting in a closet in Lord Grey's room.
I just have it. I just have it. I just found it at an antique sale.
We use it for
well, maybe. So what are you going to choose?
So, you know what? Let's see. I really like Judith's knife. That's pretty vicious.
Mm-hmm. That knife did a lot of work. So
it did a lot of work. And, maybe it'll do some more work.
Fantastic. Is there any other moves or other housekeeping notes? Oh, I owe you a clue, I think, for one of the mysteries, Langfisk, when you were searching around Cremorne Gardens. I was going to give you a clue from that. And I think the clue is going to be. Let me just take a quick glance at the existing clues so I don't double up on anything. As you were roaming around, you found yourself following, at first not intentionally, but then later intentionally, singing. There was a little girl singing a strange song, and before you could actually, you saw her finally, but before you could catch up to her, she was gone. And then with that, I think that is all of us caught up from last time. Taking a look at our 2 active threats, we do have the creature of Cremorne Gardens. We still have to answer whether we think this creature is real or if it's a hoax. And you have 5 clues currently on a complexity 4 question. The Waitley camera, you have a complexity 8 question. What circumstances will cause someone photographed by the camera to disappear? You currently have 4 clues on the Waitley camera. And here, I also want to note that you have 6 mastermind clues presently. So we're a little under halfway done with the campaign. And if there's nothing else, oh yeah.
Should we have another thread in play because we have Patrick.
There's a
correct?
third one. Yes, I'm about to introduce it.
Gotcha.
So.
Cool.
And so before I introduce it, though, I want to take a look at just make sure conditions all make sense for everybody. Make sure nothing stands out as like would have cleared by now. I don't think so. There's actually not that many conditions on the table right now. So if you haven't changed your Dawn questions, you certainly can if you wish. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce the new threat, which is the Cursed. You can go ahead and follow along on the Character Keeper players if you wish. The Cursed, this is our special threat dealing with poor Rick Miller. Your companion, Rick Miller, succumbed to their terrible curse. Their limbs grew long, with claws on the ends. Their mouth stretched into a snout full of sharp teeth and fangs. Their body, now broad and muscular, grew dark, shaggy fur all over. Hargrave House knows of creatures such as this, lycanthropes, they are sometimes called, though none has ever been known to terrorize London until now. 2 nights have passed, 2 nights, and the stories are alarming. A bricklayer called David Hawkins was found eviscerated at a building site on Baker Street. A sex worker, Miss Elvina Tompkins, claims to have seen a, quote, terrible monster like a giant wolf on 2 legs stalking around Clapham Common, where she plied her trade until very recently. And a wealthy judge living at 14 Portman Square, Judge Sidney Thornwick, claims to have chased the beast from his home and that he put several bullets in it and it did not die. Your approach to stopping the creature will depend on whether Rick Miller's transformation is permanent or reversible. I'm going to pose this question to Langfisk. Langfisk, the beast will eventually return to Hargrave House, which is when you can make your move against it. How do you know for sure it will return?
Because this isn't the first time Langfisk has dealt with a creature like this.
Interesting. Tell us more, perhaps.
It was a little bit after Lord Grey took on Langfisk to get hired. But the Outback is known for a wide variety of strange creatures and things that go bump in the night. And while Lord Grey was on his grand tour and everything, there was a disturbance near the camp. Lord Grey never knew what happened, but Langfisk had to take care of it, which included about 5 nights of tracking the damn thing and realizing it was a were-dingo and having to hunt it and take it down. He actually still has the boots that he turned into out of it. He only wears them for special occasions, though.
And you know that the beast will return to Hargrave House because, just to be clear, because that one demonstrated similar behavior?
Yeah, because it's home. You know, it's you always come back home, especially if like you go out and you feed. Like as a creature, you go out and you feed, and you just like bite it, like you gorge, and then you want to come back, you want to rest it off and everything like that. So that's probably what's happening with this creature.
Fantastic. Well, you need to figure out if the transformation is permanent or reversible. It's a complexity 4, and then if you can answer that successfully, you unlock the next question. There's also a special rule in place while this threat is active. The cursed will be drawn to places of bloodshed and strife, either because it draws some sort of power or satisfaction from such places, or because it vaguely remembers Rick Miller's work with Hargrave House. Because of this, when you are investigating a different threat and you uncover a clue, I can choose to give you a clue from the cursed instead. So know that. It's the day phase. It has been a couple of days since the events of last time. Let's go around the table and see what everyone's interested in doing today. I'm going to start with Lord Baston Gray.
Well, he's never going to admit it, but he does feel a smidge, just a scooch, just a little responsible for this whole Rick Miller issue. So he might be casually looking into that.
You have several leads from the introduction of the threat. There were several bodies that were found. There was this poor bricklayer who was eviscerated. There's Miss Elvina Tompkins, the sex worker, who claims to have seen the creature around Clapham Common. And then we have this judge that claims to have shot it.
I want to go talk to the judge who
I thought you
claims he
might.
shot
Yeah,
him.
that seems like the judge seems like more your social ballywig. Dr. Spectum, what's your plan for the day?
Periwinkle survived the encounter. Am I remembering correctly?
He did, yes. In fact, let's be reminded of this. So that's what happened at the very end when Rick Miller was transforming. Periwinkle grabbed Rick Miller's gun, and in order to survive, although Periwinkle was actually quite brave in the face of the werewolf, but shot the werewolf, suffered an injury, and then ran off. So yeah,
excellent. That's fine. We'll come back to that in a second. What I am doing is I would like to inspect the bloodstains and the bullet from that encounter in my laboratory.
So you're going with Lord Grey then? You mean for the werewolf? Oh, the blood.
Yeah,
from Periwinkle.
Yes.
Oh, from Periwinkle. Oh,
from
yeah.
Periwinkle. That's a good
idea.
Shooting Rick. Whatever leavings are there. I am sorting through the leavings forensically.
I like it, and I think I have an idea for this. That's great. Langfisk, what do you want to do?
I'm going with Lord Grey.
Lord
Grey has been having a time with this blue woman, so we've got to be keeping a close eye on him.
Sounds good. Very well. As you get close to 14 Portman Square in a beautiful neighborhood in the city, the beauty of this neighborhood, the manicured lawns, the flower beds, the polite, well-dressed newsboys. The urchins don't even seem particularly vile over here, Lord Grey. It's lovely, except you get perhaps a waft, maybe not even a waft, just a faint whisper of a smell of matted fur, blood, and rot. The creature was definitely here. Or maybe that's just your mind playing tricks on you. I don't know. But in any case, 14 Portman Square stands before you. What's your approach here?
I mean, as per usual, I know I know who this person is. I'm just going to walk up to his door like I live here.
Fantastic. Langfisk, are you falling behind? Or are you doing something else?
Yeah, just going to follow. Keep an eye, keep an ear out. Maybe if the conversation tends toward I'm not needed, start wandering around and taking a look around the place.
Hmm. Lord Grey, a maid with red hair, a face just absolutely wild with freckles, smells really strongly of lavender, actually.
Lovely.
Very young. She opens the door and she says, "Good afternoon. Can I help you?"
Yes, I'm here to see. What was his name, Jason? I don't remember.
Oh,
Speaking of.
Judge,
Judge what?
Judge Thornwicket.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
Just- I'm here to see Judge Thornwicket.
Oh, yes, yes. How are you dressed right now? What kind of figure
It
are you
is
cutting?
it is like straight up from like the Georgian period. It is like decades out of fashion, but like it's clearly like new. It's not like old and repaired. It is like he has had this custom made and new, and it is
Hmm.
just like except maybe the tall boots. He does love his boots.
The maid, who you'll learn at some point is named Poppy.
Oh,
She seems very, like, you know, she seems very nervous, but everybody seems nervous around you. But you actually pick up on that it may not be because of you that she's nervous. She definitely has a bit of
odd.
a quaver in her voice and a little bit of sweat on her brow. She might still be shaken by the events of what happened
Mm,
um, the previous, I guess it would have been last night. So, but yeah, she invites you in and she says she'll go get the judge.
Very good. Thank you. And then I look to Langfisk and
Poppy actually says, um, "Sir, if you'd like to come with me, Judge Thornwicket prefers for valets and other serving men to wait downstairs."
you
And I prefer for Judge Thinwicket to go ahead and shut.
no, continue, my good man. You can't tell my man what to do. I'm so sorry. What was your name again? Poppy?
Uh, and
No.
she just kind of darts off nervously.
Good.
Well, you're there. Judge Thornwicket is. You can hear him clumping around upstairs.
Jesus Christ.
What are the two of you doing while you're just hanging out?
You go ahead and keep him entertained, my lord. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll take a look around without having her at my elbow.
Good.
Do give a shout if you need anything, though. I'll be just around the corner.
Oh, don't worry. I doubt he's that much of a marksman.
Of course.
Before we check in with Knox, let's talk about 14 Portman Square just a bit. The interior of the home is all dark, shiny wood. You might see at some point, Lord Grey, an impressive bookcase filled with legal tomes, and there are busts of famous legal scholars on plinths all around. Paint the scene. 14 Portman Square was the site of a violent haunting that former residents of Hargrave House had to deal with. In what ways has 14 Portman Square been permanently scarred from the incident?
I think there are claw marks that they've tried to hide them with paintings or tapestries, but they're really deep in the wall.
There are slight face and hand and body prints in the ceiling. You have to see them at certain angles.
This used to be 13 Portman Square, but there's a significant shell of a burnt out building next door, and so it was bumped up one as they built out further on the lot.
I have to point out something that was offered by Amanda in chat. Scratched into a wall. Julius was here. That just seems like the kind of thing Julius would do too. I love it. We'll come back to this in a moment. Knox, you were wise to take a look at this strange blood of this creature that Rick Miller allegedly turned into. And because 2 days on, the blood has not coagulated. I would even go so far as to say it has a bit of a shimmer. It has a bit of a character all its own. What's your approach here?
I think we see up in the laboratory we see, a ton of glassware alight as we're tincturing out the blood. We see a soaking piece of carpet. There's obviously like 2 samples that have been kind of pulled out. One that has decayed like normal blood would after 2 days. I'm assuming that it's periwinkles and this non coagulated blood. We see Knox just kind of rap on the countertop as he's thinking, and kind of flick at a small jar of this blood before he goes and takes a scoop out of his flesh terrarium and moves it over into a smaller jar all its own, and feeds some of the blood into the flesh to monitor the reaction over the next few days.
I love it. Make the information move with reason.
It's a 13.
Nice. Very good. Very good indeed. I'll give you your clue straight away. The blood it has a strange shimmer. It doesn't coagulate. All very interesting properties. But also, when you move certain metals towards it, it physically recoils away from such metals.
Love it.
And because you got a 12 plus, I also owe you either a mastermind clue, or if I remember correctly, I can also talk a little bit more about Theodora herself. I'm going to have to figure out a way to incorporate that into the scene, though. Let me check the move tracker to make sure I'm doing that right. I promise I wrote this game. Oh, no, you just straight up find a mastermind clue. Okay. We'll check back in on that in a moment. But I want to kind of wrap up this scene, though. What are you going to end up doing with this blood?
Right now I want to monitor it and see what adding this blood to the flesh terrarium does to the living matter inside.
Interesting. Have you chosen blood for your child yet?
I have not chosen blood for my child yet.
That could be pretty interesting.
It could be. Who knows?
What if the blood, when it interacts with the flesh terrarium, begins to form new cells and create more of itself? What if you have a supply of this blood? Wouldn't that be interesting?
Who knows? That would be interesting.
Well, something to ponder for the future, I think. Let's go back to 14 Portman Square. Sidney Thornwicket does not come down and greet you, as would be appropriate. In fact, he sticks his head over the railing at the top of the stairs and hollers for you to come up, Lord Grey.
Like he was raised in a barn?
He's like, there's no formalities between us. I know who you are and where you're from. This is not the first time Hargrave House has been here.
Judge Thornwicket, I presume?
Yes. Come.
And
I'm sure you're here about the beast, are you not?
Yes. I am. You are so loud.
Well, you should know that it was a tremendous combat I had with the beast. It was terrible.
Mm. Oh, really?
Poppy came and woke me from my slumber. I was barely able to get my slippers on and get my gun. But I did, and I saw it there. Tall. It must have been 7, 8, 10 feet tall, maybe. A mouthful of fangs, slavering. Truly, truly horror. Horror given flesh. Terror. Terror in fang and fur.
And I presume you shot at it?
I put 4 bullets in that thing, and that was after running it through with the saber I keep on the mantle, a memento from my army days, you know. What a magnificent and terrifying creature it must be, impervious to bullet and blade, and strong enough to rip the back door off its hinges. Have you seen the back door?
course
Poor Poppy
not.
had a real fright, let me tell you. The thing was in her room when I found it.
And it was doing what in her room? Was it trying to eat her? What?
Go ahead and make the information move with presence, I guess.
Probably. Do I use anything else?
I guess that makes the most sense.
Okay, let's see. Oh, it's a 6. That's a 6.
Oh. He says, well, I know what's going to happen. I'll come back to it in a moment, though.
Oh, shit.
Langfist, what are
Okay.
you doing right now?
Bruv, yeah, just gonna go ahead and take a nice little cheeky peek around the place, you know. See what's in the cabinets, see if he's got anything hiding in the closets, things of that nature. See if
it.
there's any scene of, like, you know, this guy shot the beast.
4 times,
Yeah, 4 times?
apparently.
Okay. I want to see it. I want to see where it happened. Point me in the direction. Or maybe if you want to. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was in Poppy's room where he shot it. But if you're otherwise just looking around as well, I'll just generally give you an information move with, I think reason is probably fine.
Seven.
I'll pick up with that in a moment. Lord Grey, Judge Thornwicket has invited you to sit down in his office and have a sherry with him, and he's recounting all of the horrible events of the previous night, and he's and he keeps asking questions about Hargrave House, and he never asks questions about you. I think he's really into the creature. He's just completely overlooking the fact that Lord Baston Grey is here in his presence, right? He says, this is, I mentioned earlier, this was not the first time Hargrave House has been to my home. No. Indeed. We had a bit of a ghost problem a number of years ago.
Oh. Will you elaborate on this, or are you going to leave me hanging?
He leans in and says, a ghost problem that Hargrave House was never actually able to resolve. The ghost.
Are you positive?
Oh, yes. The ghost still lingers from time to time. I can see it wandering the halls like it wants me to see it.
Like you're special?
I sometimes try to make contact with it. I know I shouldn't do such things. I know that in a man of my learned position, the very idea of interacting with specters and spirits is probably, well, It would look rather bad down at the club, wouldn't it? But I once invited it to walk with me, to step inside me, so to speak, to feel what it's like to touch again, to feel cold metal in your hand, to feel the warmth of the fire. And now the ghost just enters me whenever it wants.
That is
And
scandalous.
he leans forward. And the ghost is very interested in you.
Oh, good God, another one.
And Judge Thornwicket has now crawled atop his desk, sort of spider style, and is like stretching his arms and legs quite wide, unnaturally wide, so that his head is dipped down and his elbow or his shoulder blades are popped up like a spider. And he's sort of moving crab-like side to side. What are you doing right now, Lord Grey?
I think I have like kind of like every time he's gotten closer, I've backed up a little because he's in my fucking space and he has not earned that. He doesn't even know my name. And I at this point I've stood, I still have the sherry glass in hand and just looking aghast like he's made some sort of faux pas at a party. Just
Langfisk, you're going to get your clue, but you're getting your complication first. You're in Poppy's room and the door shuts. Someone is locking you inside the room, and you even hear Poppy at the keyhole. I'm very sorry. This has to be done. Let's pick up with Dr. Aspectum. Ox, what are you up to now? I know I owe you a mastermind clue, and you're going to get it, but I'm curious what you're up to.
I believe there was an eviscerated body that had been left at one of the locations. I'm assuming it's been a couple of days, so it may not be there. It may be at the morgue, but that will be the next
absolutely
thing
go find it
on Knox's hit list.
Absolutely. I'd like to suggest that as you step outside of Hargrave House, perhaps to walk down or catch a cab to the mortuary where you believe the body might be. You know the mortuary circuit in London quite well. You find Mrs. Brathwaite. She's just coming out of the home of your neighbor. There's another mansion on the square, owned by a quite repulsive old admiral. And she's just coming out and she sees you and she says, "Oh, Dr. Spectum, how have you been since we last met?"
He looks absent-minded for a second, as if he's trying to recall the details of their last encounter. Shakes his head and, I suppose, fine. A friend has departed, at least for a time, but they've left behind some fascinating possibilities still. And how have you been? Many more rejections in the last few days, or?
People don't often stand up to me, Dr. Spectum, and you might think that would make me rather cross with you, but in fact, I respect you. I admire it.
You seem respectable after a type.
Yes, well, I was just calling on an old friend of mine. Have you met your neighbor, Admiral Flagg?
Um, no, I didn't spend much time on ships. I mean, to and fro, but nothing extensive. And as we discussed, structures of antiquated power aren't tremendously interesting to me at this point in time.
Yes, yes. Well, I think there's actually a bit of a fortuitous circumstance here for us, Dr. Spectum. A life lesson, if you will. Your neighbor, my friend, Admiral Flagg, he and I used to be great enemies, in fact, many years ago when I was plying my trade, so to speak, in the Caribbean. It was Admiral Flagg who put a stop to it and who brought me to London in chains. Well, that's all water under the bridge now. He and I are very, very good friends now. Enemies turned friends. I want you to know, Dr. Spectum, that 2 nights ago you were my enemy. But today, this afternoon, perhaps you could be my friend.
I mean, I don't consider there to be any animosity towards us, just a lack of interest on my part.
There you
So
are.
if you're in need of something, I'm happy to discuss it. But unless there's a malady, a body, I don't know how I could be of much help.
She steeples her fingers, clacks her nails back and forth while she considers what you've said. Dr. Spectum, the only reason why I suffer your verbal arrows is because I have plans. I have plans for this city. I have plans for the creature in Limehouse. I have plans for Hargrave House. I might even have plans for you. I certainly understand that you're very focused on your work and that this is perhaps just your focus on the work is why you are a bit socially awkward. But that doesn't mean you don't have your role to play. Everyone has a role to play.
As well. I mean, quills are better put to research and planning than they are to matters of war. But again, I have no interest in anything. If you have a need, I am happy to help.
Very well, then.
If you have a plan for me, I will break it like I have broken others.
She has just walked really close to you now, and she's sort of hovering around you, behind you. She says, Dr. Spectum, do you really think you can bring them back?
Not knowing has never kept me from not trying.
Dr. Spectum, you and I have much more in common than you realize. We both seek mastery over life and death in our own ways. We do not have to be enemies.
You are the only one here who seems to be insisting that we are.
Sorry, just an old habit, I guess. I'm more accustomed to court intrigue.
A lack of interest on my part shouldn't be considered on your part as an act of malice.
I think we understand each other now, then. Please, you must come out to Brathwaite Hall. You have already rejected my offer of having your own research space. Fair enough. But I would love to show you what I have going on there.
Well, everyone I know who ever tries to go out to Brathwaite Hall never seems to quite make it there. So I may attempt it, but it seems to be an almost impossible path.
Well, you have a standing invitation. Dr. Spectum. If you ever get a chance, you really should go speak to Admiral Flagg. He's charming. And then she turns and walks down the square. And so, let's have another scene or two, and then we'll go on break. Lord Grey. Judge Thornwicket is spider walking on the desk currently, making predatory eyes at you. What do you do?
This is, frankly, I know you don't have much in the way of civility here. I can tell by the way you conduct yourself and the way your maid is. But is this really necessary? And I know I'm not talking to the judge, all right?
He just like leaps at you. What do you do?
I actually, like, straight up throw the sherry glass, like, in his face, hoping it shatters to give me some fucking time to book it.
I love it. Please make the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
That he's gonna tackle me, that I'm gonna have to fight him, like, on the ground, get, like,
Mhm.
dirty, and, like, it'll, like, actually be a fight.
I love it. Roll with vitality.
Oh god. Okay. That's an 11.
Nice. Langfisk, you hear the commotion. Lord Grey, give us the scene. What's the what does Langfisk hear?
You hear, like, the judge has been clomping around, but he's finally sat down, and then when he jumps on this desk, you're hearing it rattle and shake in a really unusual way, and then you hear a glass shatter as it hits a man's face and falls, and then just the fastest 2 footsteps, and then I imagine 4 appendages following after.
Langfisk, you're locked in the room. What do you do?
It's gotta have to think.
I'm gonna bust the fucking door down. I hear bullshit happening upstairs where Lord Grey's going. Instincts kick in. Yeah, I pull a knife and I get ready to shove my shoulder through that door.
Fantastic. I think I don't need a roll here because Lord Grey is at least currently safe enough to get to you. Lord Grey, do you run to where you think Langfisk is? Is that what's going on right now?
Oh, absolutely. That's where
Yeah.
I'm going. This is horse shit. This is devolved.
Poppy, when you run out, Poppy's like, oh, you have to stay in there. You have to stay in there. It's not done yet. Langfisk comes bursting out of the room, smashes the door open, and let's just have the scene with the 3 of you there.
What did you know about that?
and she tries to run. She tries to run out of the house.
Oh, you're muted, Wes. Just yanks her.
Yeah, Wes, you're muted, but it sounds like you were going to try to grab her.
I'm gonna grab. Yeah, sorry. I'm
Wes is so excited.
I'm gonna grab her forearm and I'm gonna bring her on back and I'm gonna say, no, Sheila, you're gonna tell us everything before
make the day move first. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm afraid she's gonna get away.
Indeed. Roll with vitality.
Am I helping or technically defending my lord?
Sure. Yeah. I'll give it to
Okay.
you.
I do want to interrogate her very badly, so yes.
You said vitality?
Mm-hmm.
That is a 11.
Nice. You will grab her. If there's anything else you want to add to that, please do. But otherwise, you grab her. And
Nothing manhandling or anything like that. Just like where do you think you're going? Like, come on back.
you can hear Judge Thornwicket crawling around in the office where you encountered him, and you can hear his footsteps and hand steps. You can hear them along the wall and on the ceiling of that room.
Girl, answer us. What the fuck is that?
I love it. Let's take our 5-minute break here.
We'll be back in just one moment to keep on playing. I realized I had to say things before I did that, and we are clear.
I don't think I will. I think I'll discourse more.
Welcome to the discourse. We decided to pitch the second half of the show and just go ahead and list your favorite discourse in the chat. We'll be going through them one by one, solving them permanently. No, let's play a game instead. Jason, take us back in.
Thank you. Dr. Spectrum, once you're done, you said you were headed to where? To the mortuary?
To the closest mortuarial institute where the eviscerated body should have been taken.
Yeah, the only one it will have been taken to,
Well,
irrespective of distance. I love it. Let's just say it's that same one from before, where I think Pate is the name of the mortuary worker.
Correct.
Yeah. Pate will be happy to see you, of course. He says, "Now I can never remember. What am I supposed to call you?"
Knox is fine, Pate. But again, I
seems
think
dreadfully informal.
Well, I mean, I call you Pate. What would you prefer?
Yes, but I'm not a man of letters.
But I think you have the capacity if you would simply apply yourself. If you need a letter of recommendation, I'm happy to write one. I mean, don't hesitate. If tuition is a concern, let me know. But I think there is more in you. I think you could manage the night shift, in all honesty. The day shift is dreadfully boring most of the time. By which I come to question, have you inspected the mostly intact individual who came in the other night?
Are you referring to, when you say mostly intact, which body parts or organs are we saying is missing? That'll help me narrow it down.
You literally watch Knox turn to think about asking somebody the name of the individual for details, then realizes he is on his own and has to pull them out. He'll give them the location that they had heard the body had been eviscerated at.
On Baker Street. Yeah. He says, yes. Poor Mr. Hawkins. Dreadful business.
Yes. That's his name. Yes, I heard it was an animal attack of some sort, potentially.
Well, come take a look. And he takes you over to the table where they have the body still covered. And it's pretty bad. He'll leave you to it. It's this man was, like they've gone ahead and removed all the stuff, but like the stomach is torn open. You can see the tears around around the edges of the edges of the wound, the claw marks, and there's kind of nothing inside. But he explains that he was found like with his guts spilled out. Do you want to go ahead and do Beneath the Skin?
Yeah.
You get to ask me 2 questions. Which questions do you want?
How did this person die?
Okay. We'll give you a further insight in the form of a clue. And what's the other question going to be? Or the other thing?
Let's actually go ahead and double up on clues and go, what would the untrained eye overlook here?
What would the untrained eye overlook? And how did this person die? Okay, I'll be thinking about that, taking a look at my clue list in a moment.
These body parts seem not as pristine as
what I'm great. Yeah. A lot of that's missing even. Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at clues here. Oh, okay. Give me just a moment on that.
Okay.
Lord Grey, Langfisk, you have Judge Thornwicket closed up in the salon. You have Poppy. She's been held at bay or stopped from, she's been secured. What do you do?
I think I ask her the question, what is the meaning of this? What are you two doing here?
Oh, I'm so sorry, my lord. I, I didn't, I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. Only that, well, I, it told me you were going to be here. It said that you would come, that you would come to investigate what happened last night, and that I should make sure that Judge Thornwicket had access to. I don't know what I'm saying. I was I think it meant to. I think it meant to. Well, I thought that maybe if I did what it said, it would stop. It, oh, and she just begins crying.
And Lord Grey has zero pity on his face, just not an ounce. What did it tell you that it wanted? Let's start there. Come on, stop that.
You can go ahead and make the information move. She's talking about the ghost, but you
Yeah.
might learn something about the cursed as well.
Trying to figure that shit out. This is
It'll be
the
with presence. Yeah.
problem. Okay, that's a. Oh wow, that's a 13.
Nice, good.
Can only interrogate very, very scared people.
Indeed. Good. She calms down. She explains in short that she has been in contact with the ghost haunting the home for some time, and that the ghost had been terrorizing her for some time, that the ghost actually, in its own weird way, drew that beast to the house here last night in the hopes of drawing you here today. And the ghost said that it would leave forever as long as Poppy could arrange it, so that Judge Thornwicket and you, Lord Grey, had some alone time. Which is why she tried to get Langfist down into the basement, why she tried to then trap him when he didn't go to the basement, etc. Or the downstairs, not the basement.
You know, normally people just send me calling cards, or at least have the decency to come make a visit.
I'm so very sorry. I didn't know he was going to do anything violent towards you.
I mean, I'm not sure that was violent so much as uncouth and a little startling. I don't. Spidery. It's always spidery. I don't. Why is it like?
Pitiful.
It's tragic. Thank you. Yes, it is pitiful.
Your clue, though, is in what she said.
Yes.
Which is that the ghost was able to communicate with Rick Miller somehow in its feral form.
I completely ignore Poppy now and I look to Langfisk, who may or may not still be holding her. That's up to him. If it could talk to him, maybe we could, I don't know, use it as a go-between?
Let's do a bit more hunting and scouting, and then we can find out exactly what we need to find out about it before we start implementing things. Might need to get Nox 2 cents in on this as well, if that pleases you, my lord.
Of course. I wouldn't ask you if it didn't. You, girl. You can
Yes,
deal
my
with
lord.
this. You can deal with this yourself. We have other things to take care of.
He'll snap out of it eventually. Once again, I'm very, very sorry. Don't blame the judge. It was all my fault.
Oh, I'm going to blame both of you. No, this is... No.
May I ask, what are you going to do about that monster that came last night?
Hunt it.
It gave me such such a chill. It seems my life is nothing but phantoms and feral monstrosities. I'll
Was it-
never forget what it was like, looking at it there last night, staring with its red glowing eyes, staring at me or something else. I think it was staring at the ghost. I think he could see it. Uh, they I got the distinct impression they were going to communicate with each other, but of course that's when the judge burst in with his saber and his gun.
So the creature wasn't trying to hurt you?
No, I don't think so.
Interesting.
May I ask something, my lord?
I suppose.
Why is our haunt so interested in you?
A lot of things are.
Oh. You owed a mastermind clue as well.
Ooh, yes. Yes.
Langfisk,
gosh.
you're actually the one who notices the mastermind clue. The clue is a letter on sapphire blue stationery addressed to Judge Thornwicket. It says, the letter, which is just laying on a little table, essentially, Theodora is very intrigued by his ghost, and she actually has been in contact with a group of very powerful mediums and spirit workers who might be arriving in London very, very soon, and she'd love to have them stop by in order to try to make contact with the ghost.
Well, fuck.
This cursed woman is dogging me in every single corner. I can't walk in any room in this bloody godforsaken city without having her shit fall in my lap. I hate her. I hate her to her very fucking core. I would like to rip her heart out and feast upon it myself. Pardon for my outburst.
Poppy says, "If you're hungry, sir, I can get you something from the kitchen."
Chickens, please. Maybe some mash.
Right. She goes off. Dr. Spectum, I owe you clues. Let
So
me take a
many.
look here. 2, in fact. Oh, how interesting, how interesting. Here's something that was an odd detail. The body has, this is something that only your trained eye catches. The body has an unusual number of tiny scratches and bites from a cat, probably, or from many cats, all over the hands, all over the legs and ankles. What a strange detail. Second clue, when you ask, how did this body die, or how this person died? We know how they died at a basic level, but you also see there is quite a large amount of black, shaggy fur inside the hollowed out torso.
Dark, shaggy. I'm gonna go ahead and collect some of that hair.
Pate says, So what do you think?
Um,
I think I think it was disemboweling.
I they certainly weren't inboweled. Um, uh, did you? And I'll go ahead and point out the scratches. Did you note these?
Oh, uh, yeah, yes, of course I did. Of course, who wouldn't be able to notice?
I assumed
Uh,
somebody with your fine eye. I just this type of thing oftentimes won't make it into a report. Go ahead and put it in there. Put your name next to it.
I certainly did. I certainly did.
Okay.
I would have noticed a a 6, 7, several dozen of
Yes.
fine scratches and bites.
Just make sure the intake team doesn't take credit for it. Make sure that you listed yourself as the one who found
Right.
it.
That's what I can write down. Yes, yes, good.
Yes. You, again, quite astute.
Thank you.
And was any of the hair further removed, or was this all that was there? Have you cleaned any of the wounds?
That was inside the body?
Yes, the hair that you found inside the body. Was there
Oh,
any?
right. Yes, of course. Great gobs of it.
Yes.
I thought I got it all, but apparently not.
No, that's fine. I'll get the last little bit out. Don't no need to worry yourself with such mundane tasks.
Mm.
No, this looks like an animal attack, but the aggression and ferocity don't seem quite right, and I've never seen such a large creature work with such small ones either. Um, I'll if anything comes up in the rest of my investigations, or if I hear anything while I'm out and about, please I'll keep you informed. But please, Pate, as always, let me know if you have any other interesting cases that come through that I can be of any kind of help with, and do again think about if you might consider applying to a higher form of learning. I think you have it in you, and though it's not for everyone, and there is no need to learn it, this type of education has all of its own merits. Again, I think you might be capable of more.
I certainly appreciate those kind and those kind and generous words, Knox. Uh, you know, my problem is I don't like being around bodies. It's just
I mean, it's such an interesting line of work you've chosen.
ironic, I know. And
Do you have a problem with living bodies?
he he just I think he's going back to help the next customer, so to speak.
Uh, yeah.
Fantastic. Very well. Let's have like one more scene each, and then we'll start transitioning into the dusk phase. What do we think for the remainder of the day phase here, Lord Grey?
Hmm. Hmm. So are we leaving this place? I'm like, or is she really feeding Langfisk? Oh, we're leaving. Take some food to go. Take some food to go.
Yeah. Yes, please, please.
And just going to leave Poppy to this, whatever the fuck this is. But I do make a note to maybe come back. And what were the other leads for this?
You also have, let's see. Okay, well, there was 14 Portman Square,
Yeah.
the bricklayer who Dr. Aspectum is currently looking at. Oh,
Mhm.
and then there was Miss Elvina Tompkins, who claims to have seen the creature, a terrible monster like a giant wolf on 2 legs, stalking around Clapham Common.
Okay. We might pop by there on our way back to the manor.
Sounds good. And what would you like to do for the rest of the day phase, Knox?
Have we heard in the intervening days? We know Poppy survived. Is Poppy in a medical care facility, or is Poppy convalescing in their apartment at the
Poppy's the maid.
not Pop Periwinkle? Sorry, thank you.
Oh, Periwinkle. Periwinkle. Oh, I don't know. I hadn't really given it any thought. Probably. I don't know. I don't think you know.
Um, We know they ran. I'm gonna swing by the Photographic Society to check in on
Okay.
to see if to inquire after Periwinkle.
Very good. Fantastic. Let's pick up with Clapham Common. So you're there, and it's a wide open field, dotted here and there with trees. There's a very rich smell of grass and earth. There's a sort of red roofed bandstand. It's the very first step in turning this space into a proper park, something along the lines of Cremorne Gardens. Let's paint the scene, everyone. 3 years ago, Clapham Common was the site of several grisly murders. What faint evidence of this do we see even now?
There is a faded curfew sign that encourages people to leave the park an hour before sunset.
Faded blood stains on a wooden bench that it's been furiously scrubbed, but they couldn't quite get it off.
It is well more lit out here for night. You can see there are more torch areas and oil lanterns.
Gas lamps, yeah, would be.
Gas lamps around to provide more luminescence.
Interesting. It's a suspiciously well lit park, or really just a stretch of grass, wanting to be a park. Fantastic. What's your approach here, Lord Grey?
Well, is this lady like doing it? Does she live around here? Does she do her work around here?
She works around here.
Okay.
It's probably not the right time of day for the type of work she does. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I think actually if she's not around, if I like look around and realize I've fucked up and like, oh wait, I should have known this isn't my scene.
I can't imagine you've had too many experiences in that industry, my lord.
No, I don't usually. I respect it, but
we can wait if you'd like, or we can promenade. I don't know the point of places like this.
I think they're just to show yourself off. Your artwork, after all. You show everyone else. Let them appreciate you.
All right, well, maybe we can take a turn around the pack and see what we see, and we can wait so you can have your first experience being a John.
How kind of you. But I do think as you've offered this, Langfisk, not Langfisk, I was reading your name. Lord Grey takes your arm and like you're actually going to promenade. Like this is a formal thing. And I think actually his goal is to not actually, like at this point he's not sure she's gonna show up, but he will look around for signs of Rick's scuttlings, his wolfy scuttlings.
I like that. Go ahead and make the information move with reason.
Nah, what is my oh, that's an 8 because my reason is -1.
I'm sorry, what'd you end up with?
I got an 8. I thought I was like, oh, I got a 9. No, my reason is -1. Everyone.
Okay. That's a mid result. That's pretty good. We'll revisit this in a moment. Dr. Spectum, there's a bit of a delay in the door being answered at the Society Obscura. Do you just keep ringing the bell? Do you walk in?
Oh no,
I
ring the bell and I walk in. Like I don't think I waited last time. I certainly don't wait this time.
Yeah. I think you don't. There's no sign of Periwinkle, but you do see approaching you a woman who is wearing sort of a semi-sheer black caftan, and her hair was braided to look like a crown, and she has painted lips, but they're painted to make her lips look really tiny, like little tiny lips. And she approaches you and she says, "Oh, hello. Are you here for a photography session?"
No, I don't believe we've met. My our primary contact here, I believe, may be injured. I came to see is Periwinkle available? I'm from Hargrave House, and we were helping out. And I am afraid there's been something of a misunderstanding between Periwinkle and a staff member, and maybe a resulting injury. And we just wouldn't want there to be any ill will or to let any sort of misunderstanding lie.
Oh, I see. Perhaps you'd like to speak to my husband. I'm Portia Abernathy. My husband Cyrus and I, we are. This is the Society Obscura is our little project. He might know more about where Periwinkle is. We haven't seen him in gosh, it's been at least 2-3 days, perhaps. I had no idea. Is he in some sort of trouble? Or?
No. He left in something of a rush, and he had come to visit Patrick. Maybe you've met them, the American. And if they're not here, I'll certainly inquire after them. But yes, do you have an address for them?
You hear coming from one of the rooms. "Portia, darling, who is that out there?" And you see a man wearing a very form-fitting white bodysuit, tight in all the right places. Silver cords are wrapped around his arms and legs and neck. He's wearing a mask that's like a moon, shaped like a moon. He says, We have to finish the Celestial Heavens photo shoot. What are you doing? I need my starry night." And he says, "Oh, hello, I'm Cyrus Abernathy." And he pushes the moon mask on the top of his head.
I'm sorry, is this an astrological study?
We're just we're taking a series of photos inspired by the heavens.
Interesting. What time of year?
What time of year?
Yes, if it's inspired by the heavens, I mean, are you featuring constellations, or are you featuring planets? What sort of heavenly bodies are you inspecting?
You seem very, very knowledgeable about the cosmos, sir.
I
didn't catch your name.
Nicholas Spectum. Call me Knox.
Oh, what a charming name, Knox.
But yeah, I mean, I did a few courses on it. It's not. I mean, certainly there's those who will.
How much do you know about photography, Knox?
The basic process of imprintation and the chemical results are fairly easy to replicate. I mean, other than that,
set aside for a moment. Set aside the how. Set aside the mechanics. Set aside the chemicals. Set aside the process, and consider that a photograph. And he's put his arm around you at this point. A photograph is it's like a little pocket dimension, a tiny world parallel to our own. Do you believe in parallel worlds, Knox?
I mean, there are a number of theories, some more reputable than others. Certainly, I think what you're trying to articulate is you're encapsulating a certain moment in time that...
I believe in parallel worlds, parallel threads in time. For example, the primordial past of this world, the time before there was light, it is still with us. It floats alongside us, and someday it may even call out to us. I think that photographs are one of the ways that we can communicate with this parallel world, Knox.
Interesting. Is there a certain wavelength of energy that you would think transmits that information? I mean, it would have to be something more than just to the visible spectrum. If we're setting aside the science of it, there certainly needs to be a reason behind it still.
Well, and he says, let me show you something, Knox. I know I shouldn't be, because we've only just met, but I like you.
Yes, go ahead and show me this. I don't really want to have another conversation today about people's feelings for me.
No, no, no. We are not in the realm of feelings either. We are in the realm of sensation. Pure sensation.
Well, as long as it's measurable.
Keep an open mind. I'd be happy to go to great lengths to help you understand my point of view.
Now, photography is a matter of perspective, from what I understand. And I'm assuming he's walking me wherever he wants me to go at this point in time.
Indeed. Yeah, he's actually taking you up a little narrow set of stairs to a part of the Society of Squirrel that no one's been to yet. None of you, at least. And we'll pick up with this in a moment. Lord Grey, you got a mid result, right?
Yes, I got an 8.
Indeed, indeed. Can someone remind me in this campaign what our relationship is with D.I. Pettigrew? Have you met him yet?
Langfisk and I met him, I think, in the first session. Is that
in the mortuary? We haven't seen him since, though, right?
No.
Correct.
He was very braggadocious about his accomplishments.
Oh,
How
yes.
good of a detective he was.
Oh, he is, so to be fair. Good. Good. I think, Lord Grey, you do see someone else clearly investigating this space, and much more obviously so than you. Tweed jacket, little hat, writing notes on his little pad. And he kind of gets up and he looks across the way and he sees you, Langfisk, and he says, "Oh, you. Hello. Do you remember me?"
Oh, you. G'day. Unfortunately.
Don't worry. You're not in any trouble. Hello. And he introduces himself to you, Lord Grey. I am Detective Inspector Pettigrew, Scotland Yard.
Interesting. How do you two know each other again?
Oh, well, we had a rather scintillating conversation, I believe. Your man was at the mortuary, and now that I think about it, I have to wonder, what were you doing there?
Musing about the cycle of life and death and where we all end up in the same place, no matter where we're Papa or Prince.
Ah, yes, that's right, that's right. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Of course, I don't believe such things. We don't always end up in the same place, do we? Some of us shall know the glorious golden realm of our Lord. Repayment for our good service and works in this life. And others of us, I'm afraid, shall burn in the fiery pits of hell.
I was going to say end up face down, ass up in a field in England, but yeah, hell sounds much worse than that.
I'm
Right,
sure they're
right.
the same.
Now, I have to say, I am here on Scotland Yard business. We've heard some reports of something going on in this vicinity, and I'm not at liberty to share with you what I'm looking into. But my training tells me that, well, it's not a coincidence that you are also here right now. That me, seeing someone who I've previously known to be skulking about when I was doing my work, This leads me to believe that you are also skulking about here.
Do you know so few people? That's tragic.
Sir, I am a details man. That's why I'm good at my job. I'm good at making connections. I'm good at seeing how things connect. I'm good at seeing one detail and then considering another detail and creating a thread of possibility between them that others cannot see.
Play make
Titillating.
believe.
Say that again. What'd you say?
Play make believe.
Oh. I don't expect you to understand the importance of the work I do, protecting the realm.
From what?
Well, scurrilous villains, of course.
Skulkers, apparently.
So, did I have it right? Are you here on the same matter that I am?
I think Lord Grey literally does just look to Lang Fisk like he's just having a good time right now.
Being the hour of the day that it is, which it is past noon, it is time for promenading. Typically, my lord, Bastion Grey, promenades with those that are landed gentry and beyond. But today, I have the esteemed honor, and so I was making sure that the Lord was getting plenty of sun. Seems that it is merely a coincidence that we have happened upon the same place here, Detective Inspector.
This is not exactly the sort of place where a member of the peerage would be seen promenading. It is, in fact, the haunt of, well, a number of unsavory individuals plying their wares, if you know what I mean.
Is
We
that
don't.
so? Yes, I don't know. What are you talking about? This is a beautiful little park.
Is it?
Are you telling me, Detective Inspector, that you hire working girls from around here?
Excuse me,
Oh,
sir.
no.
I resent that.
Well, how
Why
else
would you
know
resent that? There's nothing wrong with that at all. If that's what you want to do, that's how you spend your money. You earn
I
that
am a
product.
married man. If you said such
And?
slanderous things in front of Mrs. Pettigrew, well, she would be right in her grave.
Well, I'll say
We
that's
can-
very, very progressive of you and Mrs. Pettigrew, allowing your marriage to be like that. Ugh, I wish I could be that lucky. Have myself a woman that's so secure and confident in our relationship like that. Ugh.
It's really the dream, isn't it?
He's
It's
getting
very
very
lovely
frustrated.
that you two do this. Yes, I think that's fabulous. You know, maybe you could point us in the right direction.
I think the two of you should be pointed to a church so you can get right with God. He turns on his heel and marches off. But
Very well done.
you are nevertheless both going to take the conditions suspicious. I owe you a clue, though, too.
Worth it.
The clue, this is something that you both might have put together as you were walking along. You saw claw marks on a tree, very large, could have only been made by the creature. There's no other animal big enough to have done such a thing in the city. But as you go along, you see more of these marks, but they get smaller and smaller, as if the claw that made them was getting smaller and smaller. That's your clue. And let's check in with Nox. Nox, Cyrus Abernathy brings you up into it's almost like a staircase that gets narrower and narrower as you go up. You're at the very, very tip top of this townhouse in what must be just a little tiny, like, attic closet or something. And he says, now, he opens it up. And inside, on a tripod, is a camera. He says, come inside, please. There's not much space around here. But we find that the camera is happiest when it has its own environment away from all of us. We've made this little space for it.
Do you mean it functions more properly?
He kind of runs his hands along it and he says, it's happier this way.
Indeed. And is this? And I just take in the artifact that he's showing me. Does it? I mean, does it strike me as an antiquated model, modern?
I mean, cameras at this time, no camera would be that old.
That old, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but it does look like one of the early tintype cameras,
Okay.
so maybe 30 or 40 years old.
Okay. It's a beautiful model and well maintained.
Yes. We take exceptional care of it. It takes the most wondrous images.
What type of or what length of exposure does it require?
What length of exposure? You must have been. Are you a friend of my wife?
No, I met her downstairs for the first time.
She loves a bit of ribald humor. I think I'm going to leave you here with it for just a moment. And let's see how much exposure to it you can handle.
I'm down. I mean,
He goes,
okay.
he closes the door, and you can tell he doesn't go very far down the stairs, just a few steps.
Yeah.
He's like listening, maybe even looking under the crack of the door.
Yeah.
And you're here in this little tight space with what is presumably the Whately camera. What do you do?
I mean, Knox has used a camera before, so he is going to go pull the hood up, like look through, look to see if there's a charge for flash. I just generally start manipulating the elements of the camera because he has no idea what he's supposed to do here.
Make the information move with sensitivity.
That's going to be an 8.
Okay. As you are examining the camera, how can you tell that as you look at the camera is also looking back at you?
There is as I kind of look into, start inspecting it, moving around it, as I move around to the front and look in the lens, for a second there is a touch of frost that comes across it, like the shadow of an eye. My breath gets cold, and then we see a series of flashes from the last few months cross over the front lens, as if it's showing me that not only is it watching me right now, but is aware of other moments and things that we have been up to.
Indeed. Indeed, there's a little table inside the room, and you didn't notice before, but on the little table, next to the camera on its tripod, is a series of photographs in a stack. And they all depict various members of Hargrave House doing things in the Society Obscura. There's a series of photos between Periwinkle and Rick Miller, which in some markets would probably fetch a tidy sum, but I don't expect Knox knows anything about such things. But also Lord Grey and Portia and other folks. It's unclear how some of these photographs could have been taken. The angles are too unusual. None of it makes sense. How do you feel right now?
I think Knox at this point probably feels irritated is probably the best word for it. It's a problem that he can't resolve, and he knows there should be an explanation for this, but right at this moment he can't fathom one, and it is frustrating him.
Just take a frustrated condition for now. But you do get a clue as well. You realize that at some point in your conversation with Cyrus, maybe when he put his arm around you, he slipped something into your pocket, Knox. He slipped into your pocket 3 small quartz rods, perfectly formed and equal in length. And that's your clue. And I think that probably wraps the phase. Let's do the dusk really quickly, then we'll take a break, then come back and do night phase. Well, we no longer, well, okay. So is tonight the night for night work?
I don't think tonight's the night for night work. I think we've got a few.
Tonight is nothing?
I think, let me read through night work again, but we've got a few unresolved things that we'll reconvene and see what happens, and then just see if tonight's the night for night work, I think.
I mean,
I have to decide now, don't I? Because
you got to decide, yeah.
Hold on, let me look and think. Give me 2 shakes.
Take a moment. Yeah. Let's talk about Hargrave House a little bit while that's going on. And for Hargrave House, we are going to go to, I'm going to keep it fairly simple today and talk about, actually, no, we're not going to keep it simple. We're going to go to the conservatory, which is like a glass enclosed like plant and seating area. A former hunter in residence turned out to be the legendary killer known as Roger the Reaver. The conservatory was his favorite room in Hargrave House. Looking around, how do you know that?
Repeat it for me one more time, please.
A former hunter in residence turned out to be the legendary killer known as Roger the Reaver. This was his favorite room in Hargrave House, the conservatory. Looking around, how do you know that?
there's a chair that has repeated nicks and stabs in one of the legs, because that's where he would like mess with a knife into it. He would like fiddle with his knife in this chair leg, and so you can tell.
There is tucked into one corner. It's actually like in the pot of a plant, like he hit it, or maybe someone missed it, and it is the locket and handkerchief still maybe stained with something, maybe blood, of one of his victims.
There are a set of flowers that he planted that still bloom to this day that are said to only grow if planted in the bodies of a murdered victim.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice.
I'm not going to do night work. I essentially did night work all day. So,
Very well. Very well. What is everyone going to be doing tonight? Or what do you want to do? Doesn't mean you're going to get to, but what do you want to do?
I think every night since the incident, this has been sort of like hoping, praying, and preparing for Julius to fucking show up and be a problem. Like,
Mhm.
I think Lord Grey has started like sleeping with that Judith's knife under his pillow. Like, and is maybe like lingering a little bit more outside of his room. Like, I think maybe he's like lingering with even Knox, like, or Langfisk, or anyone who will, to like not go the fuck up there by himself for he'll shortest amount of time possible, because he's dreading it.
Is it possible you want to draw Julius to you?
A little bit, like he kind of wants it. He kind of wants to get it over with because he
That's
thinks
what I'm wondering.
maybe,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but he's like, you know, it's he's torn about it,
Maybe
I
there's
think
a
is the
way that
thing.
Lord Grey could lure Julius. And if you can think of something, then maybe Julius will respond. Langfist, what are you doing tonight?
I'm gonna go ask a lady about a John, since the Lord Grey is determined to ask a John about a lady, or whatever you're intending to do with Julius. So
Don't worry about it. I
I
don't
don't.
think he even told you about Julius. He didn't
Yeah,
tell anyone.
I haven't been told about anything, so I guess I'm just like, okay, yeah, I have my night to myself. I'll go ahead and do that.
And Knox?
I am going to send the Resurrectionist out though.
Oh
I
yeah, the
am
Resurrectionists.
yeah,
Yeah.
I am planning on this camera thing. I think has really gotten underneath his skin today, and the Knox is not somebody who is super worried about impropriety, but in guise of, oh, we should resolve this problem. He's upset that Periwinkle got hurt, more so, but he would like to try to go visit the door that only opens at night again.
Oh, remind me what this is.
Is there not a room that in the with near the Waitley camera, the astral plane room that has a door painted on the wall that is said to only open at night? Is that not a thing?
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I recall that. Okay, interesting. I like that. Good. I don't think we have any unresolved Janus Mass prompts, and so if there's nothing else, why don't we go ahead and introduce the unseen? Our unseen for this night phase is going to be A Night at the Grand Guignol, the Laboratory of Hallucinations. This is on line 21 at the far right. As ever, everyone is responsible for paint the scene. Prompt 2, which is Act 1 of the play, is going to be... Wes, you can take that one. Prompt 3 will be Tony. And prompt 4 will be B. If there are no questions, we will take a break, our second break, and come back and do the night phase.
We'll be back in just a few minutes to keep on playing The Between. And we are back for the night phase. Jason, take us in.
Every class of people in London is represented in the audience at the Theatre Grand Guignol. They have come to watch a production of The Laboratory of Hallucinations, a story of revenge. As the limelights pop to life and the crimson curtain is raised, what do we see as we scan the stage that tells us this is the story of a mad scientist?
I think the first thing we see, the way they introduce it, is a crack of artificial thunder and a flash of light.
There are shelves with jars of body parts and liquids and Lord knows whatever else that sit upon rows of these shelves and other weird instruments.
We see a set of vessels, one suspended over a Bunsen burner, something slowly dripping down into it, and a set of magnets pulling back and forth at a bright red ferrous fluid.
Everyone's making plans for the evening. You all told me during the dusk phase what you intended to do. As you're all getting ready to set out for your respective hunts, or in Lord Grey's case, doing a little hunting at home, it sounds like. You hear ring, 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 ring.
I'll answer the door.
The resurrectionists don't usually come through the front, Knox. But here they are on your front step.
Another interesting evening, gentlemen.
Well, Dr. Spectum, we heard you had need of our services this evening. This is Harley White speaking. He's there with his couple of men, including that really weird tall one that never talks. And they come inside, clumping their muddy boots all over the floor. You get to pick two options from your list here, Dr. Spectum.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want them to do tonight?
We are going to look for a body part.
Love that. Okay, great. Then what?
I do love that. Let's see. I think we're going to have them search for other valuables that night.
Oh, interesting. What do you get as an advantage on that?
Do what?
What do you get then when they do that?
They will search for valuables during the night phase. During the dawn phase, ask another hunter what they found and add it to your personal quarters.
Good. Okay, I love that. Lord Grey, what are you doing in your attempts to possibly lure Julius to you?
I think, like, my intention is to lure him and then make him fuck off, or at least make him tell me what's going on. And so the window he came through, I'm opening, and I've got the knife like tucked into my little belt loop, and I'm just on the window seat watching the sky, watching down, and waiting.
Very well. Langfisk. I'll let you go ahead. I think you can go. You can have already made it out of the house, if that's okay. We'll pick up with the Cursed and indeed Clapham Common. And you said you were going to go look for this Miss Elvina Tompkins, correct?
That is correct.
You find, after asking a few other of the the working girls and boys, you find her. She's wearing a blue velvet gown frayed at the hems, black finger gloves, and when you get close to her, you see she actually has a really striking magpie hairpin, which it's probably like the only like somewhat valuable ornamentation on her. And you can tell she's really nervous. She probably wouldn't even be here right now if not for the fact that this is her haunt and she needs the money because she saw something really terrifying the other night. What do you do?
I am going to casually stroll by, stop, and then stroll on back.
And she says, um, is there something I can help you with tonight, sir?
I think there might be.
Right. Is there any chance that you have a place nearby and yet um, far away?
You've got an eye for shiny things.
Oh. Um, well, I've got an eye for your coin, if that's what you're asking for.
Do you have an eye for things that people enjoy, that belong to them, and you just take it from them?
What are you suggesting, sir?
Your pen?
She kind of fiddles with it. She says, that was a gift from my dead mother.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Just an interesting choice for a bed. I have a place. If we could have a conversation beforehand, he's going to go ahead and pull out a bunch of coin and a coin purse and say,
I think she can tell that because of your initial interrogation about the pin and everything, she can tell that there's something up, and she's intrigued. She says, anything to get out of this place. And she comes with you. Let's go back to the Theatre Grand Guignol. Wes, please describe Act 1, in which this mad scientist discovers his wife is having an affair with another man.
the lights flicker a little bit in the audience. There's a rap, and then a sound of music. All of these instruments finding a similar note, and then playing this garish tune. It sounds like normally it might be an exquisite symphony, but it seems like it's a little bit. It's on a minor key. It might have, and the curtain raises, and we see this whole scene before us. All these different items across the stage, all this different stagecraft that's happening. We see this scientist, this man that's just like running through calculations in his head. He almost bumps into people walking past him, getting robbed immediately past as he approaches. He doesn't even realize that he's going through, but he approaches and a set is wheeled on, and we see a window opened, a seat next to it, and we see a woman looking longingly out. We might imagine that maybe the scientist might approach. And then we see a man appear behind her and stroke her hair, touch her neck, and pull her away from the window. The audience oohs and ahs with gossiping abandon. The next scene that plays out is a series of almost noises off style mishaps of a misplaced key having to go through and climb through a window, almost noticing this sexual escapade that is happening across this entire house. The couple switching in between different places, and we're seeing a more size of this set, more of this laboratory in this home that this scientist has shared with his life, with his wife. And just when they think that they're not going to get caught, they are in a loving embrace with each other. And the scientist finally looks up to ask her something. And he sees them standing by the front door, kissing each other. And he just turns and walks away.
Lord Grey, you're sitting outside of a window. You might even feel cold fingers touching your neck and shoulders, someone behind you. Good evening, Lord Grey.
Took you long enough.
Sorry. I slept in.
So are you finally going to tell me?
He's like being really handsy right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's also clinging to the side of the house. He's not standing. He's sort of perched. And he's touching your hair with his long, oily fingers. He's touching the hem of your garment, checking the fine fabric.
Sure he is.
Oh, Lord Grey, you are a vision, are you not?
You don't have to tell me that. I know.
Lord Grey, I would very much like to put my mouth on your neck.
And at that, like, he's been fiddling with Judith's knife, and he just fucking hopes to God that he knows what he's doing. Maybe tries to catch one of the mirrors even in here and to plunge it into his neck. He knows it won't kill him, but or at very least doesn't think it will because he's a vampire. But
Let's have the night move. What do you think is going to happen if you fail?
that I will knock us both out the window.
Oh, interesting. It's worse than that. He will have managed to drain your blood before you hit the sidewalk.
Holy fuck. Okay.
Roll with, I think it's going to be sensitivity because you're using this ancient artifact as well as the fact you're dealing with a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And let me take a look at your conditions as well.
Yeah, let's see.
What do you got? Whale. She's in my head. Suspicious. The sapphire. I don't think anything applies. And are you going to mark the knife?
Yeah, I'll mark it for advantage if that's.
Go for it. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay, I was like, I didn't remember if I could or not, but yes.
Yep. Yeah. It's
New
just a
move.
regular item. Yeah.
Yay! All right. 2. That's an 8.
An 8. We'll come back to this. Dr. Spectrum, you send Harley White and his men away, and you barely get 10 feet from the front door when you hear ring, 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 ring.
I'll go back and open the door.
It's your neighbor, the Admiral. You recognize him. You've never talked to him. He's quite a tall, broad-shouldered man, very erect despite his age, actually wearing his admiral's coat with the gold pauldrons and stuff. His eyes are the most striking thing. They look for lack of a better, they look like dead fish eyes, for lack of a better way of putting it. Just gray, and they look almost like empty. And he has his hand in his jacket, kind of Napoleon style, for some reason.
Sugar.
And he's, say that again?
Sugar. Did you come to borrow something?
He's just staring a little bit like past you, maybe, or it's unclear what he's doing, but he hasn't even like registered that you've spoken to him or even opened the door.
I'm gonna step outside and close the door behind me and start to walk past him.
Langfisk, where do you take Elvina Tompkins?
Langfisk's apartment.
Oh, interesting. Tell us about that. What do we see?
It is a very nice flat that's on the East End. It is a 1-bedroom. It has its own water closet, and it has its own stove and fireplace. It has emerald green walls. It has very rustic furniture stylings. It would look like it's a cabin if you didn't realize that you were actually inside of a brick building.
Oh, that's interesting. So, how have you and Miss Tompkins spent the evening so far?
Undressed in various states,
Very well.
getting the money's worth, as is business, and probably doing the whole. There's sheets that are like tastefully placed in positions to make it fitting for premium network television, and a light of a cigar afterwards, and just leaning up in bed. The hat is leaned on the bedpost, things of that nature.
Miss Tompkins, while you're sort of enjoying a bit of pillow talk or something, she says, "So, aren't you worried that I might have slipped something into my pockets?"
No, not until you mentioned it.
Well, I haven't, so don't worry about it.
I'm gonna slightly worry about it.
That was more, well, that was more fun than I normally expect these sorts of transactions to be.
Well, I'm happy that I can provide some enjoyment. Bring some liveliness back to the job for you. I know you don't get much of it probably, but job's
You
not done
have
yet.
you have ghosts.
Pardon?
You have ghosts. Things from your past. I can see it etched in your face. Anything you want to tell me about?
How about we'll trade a question for a question? All right, I'll ask you a couple of questions, and then I'll tell you something if I get a sufficient answer. How about that?
Fair enough. But I asked first.
Yes, I do have ghosts. Now my turn.
All right. Fire.
What did you see?
When?
The thing. When did you see it? The thing that's
Make the
got you
information move.
scared, spooked.
Make the information move with vitality.
I'm gonna use the big knife. No, I'm kidding.
I'm going to put you at disadvantage because it's suspicious too.
Let's see what happens. I can think of one use for a taxidermy gator, but not yet.
What'd you get?
That is a 2 plus a 3 plus a 2.
Okay, so 7.
7. Yeah.
Fantastic. Back at the Theatre Grand Guignol. Tony, please describe Act 2, in which the mad scientist kidnaps his wife's lover and uses an experimental technique to take over his mind.
We see the lover coming down the steps from the house after that kiss, as the scientist steps behind him and covers his mouth with a cloth, and the lights go dark. As it comes back up, we see ourselves in the set has been rearranged so that there are now trees hanging overhead, and the hooting of an owl in the distance, and the sounds of night animals, as a scene of some remote cabin somewhere off in the countryside. We see the lover tied up inside of on a chair, equipment kind of scattered all around out of a large black trunk spread out on the bedside. We see the mad scientist take a knife and rush up and press it against the neck of the lover before calming themselves, thinking better of it, turning and grabbing a piece of equipment, 2 large pair of glasses that hold the eyes open, and a clockwork mechanism that sits on the head. We hear it going tick, 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 as we see a slow swirling and a new and kind of ooh and ah from the crowd as this light effect of this kind of swirling black and white thing takes over the entire stage. We see the mad scientist whispering to him and asking her, what does she want, before the lights fade to black again.
I'm here about a fish. Dr. Spectum, Admiral Flagg has spoken as you're walking away.
Pull out my pocket watch and look at the time going, and close it and look back to him. And you're a Navy man. I'm sure you're far more familiar with fish than I.
He's turned, and now he's sort of snapped out of whatever fugue state he was in, and he's taking long stride steps toward you in the square. Yes, I'm here about a fish. My friend, Mrs. Brathwaite, she says you and your colleagues are in pursuit of some terrible fish creature terrorizing the people of Chelsea Harbor.
You must be aware from your travels that there are rumors galore of fish people in almost every culture that we come across, and certainly there's a kernel of truth to that. I went and looked around. There were some intriguing features, but it seems to mostly be a parlor trick of some sort.
Have you ever traveled on the ocean, Dr. Spectum?
To and fro, but not as extensively as you, I'm sure.
No, certainly not. If you had spent as much time at sea as I have, you would know the ocean contains worlds we cannot possibly understand. There are things down there beneath the waves, whole entirely unfathomable universes.
Yes, I'm sure men of your predilections would struggle to fathom certain things.
As there are stars above, so are there stars of a sort below, Dr. Spectrum. I have seen things. Mrs. Brathwaite has seen things. We share this in common, having spent a good deal of our lives on the water. You must believe me when I say that this creature is real. Do you understand what I'm saying, Dr. Spectrum?
Sure, Admiral, sir. You must certainly respect that, as high of an esteem as many may hold you in, that if one of your men came to you with a fanciful or far-fetched tale, you would probably demand some sort of proof. Is there anything that you can share that would actually help me understand how this fish creature has come into being?
I would be happy to show you. Come to my house. And it's just right there.
Certainly. So.
And he strides over to HMS Chimera, which is what he's called, his mansion. And we'll pick up with that in a moment. Langfisk, you got a mid result, right?
Yeah.
She says, well, it was enormous. Tall as an oak and nearly as wide. And the way it breathed at me, not on me, at me. I could sense it wanted me to feel its breath. Does that make sense? It wanted me to know. It wanted me to know it was there. I could hear it. I could feel its hot breath, even from 20 paces away. Clapham Common has such a dark history already, and now this. I think tonight was my last night. I'm sorry. What is your interest in this?
I mean to find the beast and deal with it humanely. Figure out what nature it is, whether it should be removed and taken up country or removed permanently. Things of that nature.
Oh. And at this point, I think the complication is Elvina Tompkins. She says, is there any chance you'd like some company on your hunt?
I'm going to put on a mask.
Langfus has got 99 problems. And Elvina
and I
Tompkins
saw exactly what that one did to fucking Periwinkle.
Elvina Tompkins ain't one. All right, fantastic. You got your clue, though. The clue is that the beast wanted to be seen.
I would like to solve the puzzle.
Let's check in with Lord Grey. Lord Grey, you have a mid result. You are going to successfully stab Julius. This whole scene is going to be messy as hell. You are not good at this. Julius is surprisingly bad at this. It's going to be a lot of flailing around, a lot of smashing, it's going to be really, really gnarly. Also, I think that Judith's knife has heretofore undiscovered powers against the undead because it's some ancient artifact, and neither of you understand that. And so it's just a great big fucking mess essentially. And you're probably going to lose something from your personal quarters as things get smashed. Um, what is the initial, quite messy, not nearly so elegant and badass strike against Julius look like?
I think Lord Grey's intention was a one and done, like the painting, just a stab and a shove him off, and he's done. Obviously, this is a ridiculous plan. And the blade does make contact into his throat, and the knife gets slippery, and like he obviously won't just let that happen. And we're at the window. Like, I don't want to fall out. And there's a lot of scrabbling, like the most scrabbling.
I think you stab him in such a way that he begins spraying black blood.
My
And so
God.
he just like sprays black blood all over you. And then he's like flailing around like a dog, whipping his head back and forth, just spraying black blood all over the fucking place. And he's screaming the entire time, Lord Grey, how could you do this to me? And he's like flailing around, and he's like, his limbs are going all over the place like a rubber man, just smashing into things, rolling around. And when it's all like, and he's not done, he's like clawing at his neck. And then he's like clawing, he's like trying to get at you. He's trying to get the knife out of your hand. What happens then?
I think what happens is, like, I think for a second he thinks this vampire is just going to bleed out on his floor. Not ideal, but and gross, but maybe better. And it doesn't happen. And he gets up in the business and tries to take the knife. And Lord Grey tries to use the knife. The knife drops onto the floor because his hands are slick with that blood. He's not sure it's blood at this point. And then it's actually there, like, probably wrestling with each other in the exact way that Lord Grey did not want to happen.
the It's getting really, really gnarly. Whatever this knife did to Julius, it's like you can see that like the wound, it's spreading over Julius's pale skin like spider veins, or like spider like spider, kind of spider web veins, like black veins like going all over his forehead and cheek and face. And he's just like looking at you like all bulge-eyed, like, what have you done to me? And like his like skin starts to like slough off like of his skull, and is just kind of sliding, and now he just has like half of his eye like barely open because the rest is all covered by sloughing skin. And he's just like flailing, like doing this, like trying to get at you. And as he's flailing, you can see like his fingernails like are coming off and like poking you and hitting you, and he's, and there's black blood underneath the cuticles, and it's a mess. And then at one point, you both just end up on the ground, like embraced, rolling.
It's like I think there's like grabbing of wrists and then realizing skin is sloughing and going.
It's
oh,
like coming
God,
off,
ew,
yeah.
ew.
Yeah,
And like
got just flaps of his skin just peeling off in your hand.
And just like he's like, oh God, oh fuck, oh geez, and like it's like trying to shove him off because it's freaking him out, like in not like getting attacked way. This is nasty, and like trying to scrabble away. Also, kind of looking at the knife like a little concerned about it, like oh shit. And maybe is like if he had the ability would try to push him back towards the window, but I don't think he has the skill or even the thought process that this might be the better way to handle this.
I love it. Let's go back to the Theater Grand Guignol for the last time. B, please describe Act 3, in which the enthralled man manages to turn on the mad scientist and destroy him. The final scene should, of course, be very, very bloody.
I think we've seen more light effects, more oohs, more ahs, more scandalous things with the enthralled man who is actually the scientist for a moment, having an affair with his own wife. It's very visceral. But at one point, I think it might actually be the point where the wife and the lover have a real moment, and the scientist, he's off controlling this man, just off so he can watch. And they have a moment where they meet each other's eyes. They're close. They're actually in bed together, talking, smoking cigars. And she looks over at him and mentions that this is the first time she's really felt loved. And then the man snaps out of it. And he gets up. And he knows, they've been sharing a brain. He knows where the scientist is. And he takes a penknife from off the desk and finds him and stabs it into his neck. But it doesn't end there. There's fake blood gushing everywhere. The audience is aghast and delighted because this looks very real, concerningly real. And the scientist swings and hits him, and they get on the ground, and there is this massive, they move a panel from the floor, and out from like a mechanism shoots all of this fake blood up from the bottom. Someone's probably blowing it through a tube. And the wife, she's now run in, and she's aghast, screaming bloody murder. And she gets into the fray. They get back up, and she accidentally gets hit and knocked down, and the lights go down, and we hear a thunk, and it switches scenes, and we're outside, and the wife is on the ground, dead.
Langfest, just give me the end of the scene with Elvina.
I think there's a very like the would you like some company? And then there is a smash cut to outside of the apartment, and him helping her onto a carriage, and like make sure she gets to wherever she needs to get going. You have an excellent rest of your evening, my dear. And mayhaps I may see you again in the future, though you may not see me. I'm sure to perish under tooth and claw and fang.
And she kind of smiles and says, I think you don't give your own virility enough credit, sir.
Well, I shall have to see about getting that readjusted then. I know a doctor.
Lord Grey. Lord Grey. The two of you are pulling each other's hair at this point. He's got clumps of your hair. You've got his hair. He's got the better of it because his hair is coming out in clumps from his skull. Yours is not. And it's so bad. At this point, it's basically just like a half a skull with a fang and a eye socket like pumping out black ichor, and his tongue, blackened, swollen tongue. What have you done to me, Lord Grey? And the place is a fucking mess. Langfus is gonna have so much to clean up the next day. And when it's all said and done, you're both exhausted.
Yeah.
You both are like sitting in your corner of your respective corner of the room. He's over in his corner. I can't go out like this, Lord Grey. I can't show myself. This is your fault. Your fault, Lord Grey.
My fault. This is
Your fault.
This is you are not staying here. I don't know what you think.
I am
This
your
is-
problem now, Lord Grey.
Like,
Can I
fuck
use
you are.
my move? His person Friday or whatever.
Show up.
He is crawling under your bed. I shall just be here, Lord Grey.
Good God, you will not.
You won't even know I'm here.
Little cretin, obvious. And he's like, he kind of kicks under the bed a little bit, even if he can't reach Julius. Like, the fuck out. Get out. Out.
Langfist, you can walk in on this. What do you do?
Like I'm trying to shoo a cat or a raccoon out.
I just grab whatever this little freak's legs are, and I'm just like, can't even
Oh,
have one.
It's very hard to get a hold of him. This clothes and skin just slough off. You're just like dealing with bone at a certain point. Bone and black blood.
I've already tried that.
I apologize, my lord. We'll get you new things. And I'm gonna
Get your hands off me, servant! How dare you touch me?
How dare you talk to my man like that, you little piece of
I'm gonna start pushing Lord Grey out of the room. And I'm going to grab a cognac bottle that's nearby and an oil lantern. And I'm going to start pouring the cognac all over the room. And then I'm just going to toss the lantern and close the door behind me.
Very well, very well. Tony, we'll wrap up this night phase with Knox in HMS Chimera, which is what the Admiral has cheekily named his mansion. But when you get inside, you see there's some truth to it. The interior of the home is decorated to look like a ship. It's like you're in the hold of a ship. There are rope hammocks hanging in between like Doric columns. There are crates and barrels stacked up next to fine antique furniture and mirrors. It's an unusual decor option, I would say. Probably most unusual is as you walk past a set of stairs going down into the basement, you hear all manner of strange noises. Like Admiral Flagg has pigs and goats in his basement. Just all kinds of bleating and snuffling and snorting going on down there. Admiral Flagg has taken a seat in a chair next to what appears to be like one of those like wheels to use to turn the ship, which is just set up. And he says, "Please join me." And he motions you to a chair.
I sit. This is a delightful space.
Yes, I have certain affectation when it comes to how I like to keep my spaces. I never left the sea, you see. She is always in my heart.
Hmm. And the fish person?
Oh, yes. Yes. About that. And someone has slipped a garrote wire around your neck from behind. Mrs. Brathwaite sends her regards. And we're going to end there.
Oh, that's great.
Let's pick up with. Don't forget about Resurrectionists for next time. We'll see what you got after, if and when Nox survives this
alive.
encounter at Chimera. But I do want to go ahead and swing over into the dawn. So let's do that. All right. Dawn phase. First things first. Let's answer dawn questions. We don't have to concern ourselves with the first two for today. However, echoes in the night. I heard a lot of echoes. Langfisk, you definitely got one. I picked up what you were throwing down with the windows and the hands reaching from behind.
It was good.
Yeah, it was. It was fun. Nox, did you get one?
I did. Yeah, I did. We got a few of them in there.
Yeah, there were. I remember thinking everybody got one. Lord Grey, did you want to mention yours?
I tried to do it with just the sort of bloodbath that you
I
fabulously
picked up on that.
handed
Yeah.
me. You just handed me one.
It was honestly, that the Grand Guignol ones are the easiest ones to get echoes in the night. They're like so because you have so much control over like what's happening in the scene. Not to say that you all didn't have great ideas. You definitely did. So everybody gets that one. Let's go back around the table. And Langfist, did you ensure your employer got credit for your triumphs?
Not yet.
Did you have a scene showing your secret private life in London? Yes, you did.
I did.
Nox, did you dismiss the possibility of a supernatural explanation? Yes, you did.
Yep.
Did you put your hands in a pile of guts and love every moment
I
of
did.
it?
I mean, the stomach was missing, but generally speaking,
Well,
yes.
sure. It's good enough for government work. Lord Grey, did you express a clear preference for the beautiful over the mundane?
Possibly going to the judge's house first.
Oh, I'll take that. I like it.
Okay.
That made sense. And yes, you did let someone touch you and then make them pay a price for doing so.
Yeah, we did. Finally.
A price was paid. Very good. Fantastic. Questions. Dawn questions are good to go. Let's keep going here. What's next on our phase tracker? Why can't I see the phase tracker? Let me reload the page. I can't read the phase tracker for some reason.
It's
Anybody
not
else
showing
wanna-
on my side either, if it makes you feel any better. So I don't think it's just you.
I don't. Okay. So I think the next thing to do is to resolve moves, but we'll resolve the Resurrectionist next time. I think that's probably it. So I think that's just Janus Mask then. Anybody have any?
Did anybody mark
outstanding prompts?
Wes marked a Janus Mask.
Yeah. Are you ready, Wes, or you want to wait?
Yeah, I can go ahead and do it.
Go for it.
This is my second mask of the past. My dearest flame, 18 months. 18 months of open sky, fresh air, and sweet, sweet opium. We might have been on the run, but what we lived was a privileged life. These rats of London would have themselves to be their privileged few, but they've never experienced truer freedom. I think of the days in fresh springs washing off the dust and grime of hard riding, fishing with the dreaming people and hearing their stories, showing their knowledge to help us survive. Even our arguments about my consumption ring like chimes in my ears. I wonder what the Lord would think of the love and life we shared. Would he become jealous? I hope not, for the love I bared for you is the same I bear for them. You live within him, with love and promise, your longfish.
Fantastic. Thank you. And I think that just puts us in Stars and Wishes. So that was I was going to say it was a short session. It wasn't. It was a full session. It felt short because it was so action packed and fast and fun. So yeah, stars for just the Great action, but also some really terrific, like kind of smaller scenes. I love the scene between Elvina and Langfist. That was a lot of fun. I really love the scene between Theodora and Nox because while I understand how Nox is, I don't think Theodora does. Like
Yeah, it's
Theodora
super
is
fun.
it's fun to roleplay Theodora's like complete misunderstanding of Nox as a character, right? So I think that's really, really enjoyable. And yeah, and Lord Grey, the situation with Julius is really quite enjoyable as well. So yeah, stars for that. Yeah, just good time all around. That Janus mask you just did was really terrific, Wes. So congrats on that. Also, all the paint the scene prompts are really terrific, as well as the Grand Guignol stuff. So yeah, just a lot of really good, like kind of narrative kind of role play tonight. So yeah.
It got shouted out. The Grand Langfist on the promenade was super fun, but like I internally was like squealing at like, take an arm? What? Like it was like so internally like, how is Langfist processing this? I also I mentioned it in chat. Wes, watching the subtle way that when y'all were interacting with the yardie, this guy who's got yard, that Langfist was actually like more confident in asserting in defense of Lord Grey, like was cutting Lord Grey off in a way that they normally wouldn't because they were being defensive, was a really great subtle play of strength that I think like totally tracks with your characterization, but we haven't got a chance to see the like emotional protection side without there being violence very closely after that. So it was very very well done. Also too, I chat got so hype when you mentioned Flag and Flag showed up also too, Jason. People do want to know who is the vocal inspiration for Flag for you? People were trying to figure out in chat at one point in time.
Oh, there was one originally, and I'm trying to think what it was. It was I've just lived with Flag for so long now, I've kind of forgotten where he originally came from. Because Flag lives in my heart.
That's right.
So,
I love it. But same for me. Like it's all. I think I talked about it last time. Like the level setting, but like it is interesting to have Nox be the person that has developed this interaction with Theodora, and it is literally just like I like you are concerned with things that I just don't care about, and I don't want you to mess with me. So if you just leave me the fuck alone, we're fine. But the interactions, the back and forth, like you're super enjoyable to role play that with. Generally, it's fun to get to explore that on a more extended basis, though. But the way that you embody the masterminds is just always super enjoyable, and I love that we're getting to see a couple of little beats of that, along with some like additional elements of like foreshadowing things to come in the narrative that you're just kind of sprinkling through has been really good. The Sherry in the face moment and that like whole confrontation, there is a level at which I think you as a player also really like, even when the roles are betraying you and you're getting Lord Bass is getting the absolute shit beat out of them, there's a level of composure you keep that really like speaks to the heart of the character of like they are going to be okay because they're the undeniable, and even as they're getting the shit beat out of them, like there is this calmness that they have that you kind of bring through that I think is just really great in that also too.
Ray in chat reminded me that it is inspired in part by a villain in my old Dungeon World and now Trophy Gold game, Eotho. So, but Eotho, the difference is I make my tongue thick with Eotho, and I talk like this when I speak as Eotho, right? So it's slightly different, but yeah. But that was definitely an inspiration.
Oh my god. Yeah, I didn't want to cut you off, Tony.
No, that's it. That was good.
Okay, fabulous. Because I want that's a perfect jumping off point. Jason, your character voices absolutely rock. Like
Oh,
I
thanks.
really, they're so fabulous. It's so fun. I really love Flag. I really love Julius. Like he's such a little gremlin, and I really love the way you inscrutable. What is wrong with him? It's really fabulous. I really love that you take things to like the most extreme version possible when it is a even a mild complication like a mixed success. You still make it buck wild and interesting instead of just like I don't know. Like it makes getting a mixed success very exciting. And I think all of us can agree on that. It's very fabulous. And I really love, and I loved your scene with Knox and Theodora. That was good. Knox, you're spicy. Ooh, ooh, you're spicy. Like, just like, I think when you see Knox interact in a non like confrontational way, he's just this sort of like very chill, kind of absent-minded scientist, and then you see this other side of him that is super that you realize he's super sharp-witted, always on, always ready, always like he's got something to throw back, and it really really makes the mastermind confrontations really delicious because Theodora is also on that same level, and it's really fun to see these two duke it out. It's very very fun, even though Knox insists it's not it's not a fight. It kind of is. It is a little verbal cat fight. I really love it. And I mean, Knox, I just love, I love the way you interacted with Flag too. Just sugar was a very good line that stood out to me. Like that really did it for me. Very 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 good. I love Knox. I hope he survives. I'm a little concerned.
I've got
Um,
plenty. I got plenty of masks. Don't worry about it. Like we're
whew,
fine.
we're good. Oh my god. Speaking of masks, Wes. Oh my god. I was frothing at the mouth when you said this was your second mask of the past. Oh my god. Oh my god. Your masks are always gorgeous. I think we've said it every single time you've done one. The format in which you do them is so cool. It is so I've never seen anyone do this. It's fascinating, it's riveting, and it feels like pre-written. It feels like it's a book you're picking up and giving us the next chapter of, and it's absolutely fabulous. And I really love playing off of you. You're very fun to role play with, and I really loved the entire thing you did with the cop was hilarious and so perfect and just absolutely top notch 10 out of 10 shit. And I really love the way you handled what was her name? It started with an E. The lady with the magpie.
Elvina.
Elvina.
Yeah.
Elvina. I really love the what an interesting way to approach her, accusing her of being a thief because Langfisk knows about magpies because they're from Australia. Like that's like really fun. That's a really cool, like niche little character moment. I really loved it. Everybody did so fabulous. Ugh, delicious, delicious. I can't wait to see what happens next. I can't wait to have Vyn back and see who the vessel is for realsies. Maybe they can help us with this ghost, this weird spider ghost that's looking for a third.
Wes pointed out in chat very correctly that the flag character is based off Ciarán Hinds in The Terror. That is the literal character I modeled the character after, and so the voice to some degree is a little bit like that, but because he has kind of a croak in his voice.
Such good, just so good, so good. I want to give a shout out to you, Jason, for bringing Flag in. Flag is my favorite mastermind. What a psychopath, in all intents of the word, and nothing but like a absolute like honor it is to be future victims of him. I don't know if this is multiple masterminds or if he's a servant of the mastermind that is providing the creature from Cremorne Gardens.
I'm actually I'm actually trying to stick to the rules really closely here because per the rules, Theodora cannot directly attack Hargrave House until a certain threshold is met on the campaign tracker. And so I am skirting the rules of my own game, and also using the fiction to have Admiral Flag do the dirty work.
I
So,
love it. I
We're
love it. It's
friends
so
of
good. It's so
Theodora,
clever.
Kenna.
friends of Theodora, that's
Friends
right.
of Theodora, yeah. But no, I love Flag. Love the bringing in the Chimera. Just the voice and the presence and the pausing and the like. I'm done talking now. Kind of affectation that like Flag has and everything. It's very good, very matter of factly. I can't wait to see what more horrors come about. B, I love sharing scenes with you because it's like playing pickleball. We go right back and forth with each other. That I feel very confident that you and I could handle a police officer in a verbal like tennis sparring match to get him to just be like, just leave. I don't care anymore. It's so fun. You're very fun to play with. And I'm glad that our characters have this history. I'm sitting on a loaded gun for your character right now, and I can't wait to pull on it. If you read the Factotum playbook, or if you're aware of it, you know what that is. And I haven't used it yet, but we'll see what happens. Tony. Your conversations with Theodora Brathwaite, from that to like your internal musings and monologuings and memories, your how you carry yourself and everything. It's so interesting, and there's such a like a placidity that's calming that comes from Nox, and it's terrifying, but it's really like calming, which is nice. It's pleasant. It's ASMR without being ASMR because I don't like ASMR. But I don't know. There's just like every time Nox has a scene, I'm so into it. I loved the fake out Jason of with the resurrectionists of the sequel to Knock Knock Knock.
Oh, the
That
door
was
ringing.
very
Yeah.
good.
It's not actually them, but it's Flag at the door. Very good, very clever. My wish. I hope we get this mangy mutt back on a leash and under control in a timely manner. I think we will, and I can't wait to meet the vessel. Tem.
I have a wish to see if Julius is actually dead. I wonder if he's just a charred skeleton roaming around.
I was like straight up not expecting you to kill him. I'm just like, okay, so he's dry now, but still sort of scuttling. Like he just lives here now. I don't know.
I think he's just like a charred vampire skeleton roaming around the house.
Just
but we'll see.
skeletoring at us.
Yeah,
God.
exactly. Yeah.
I love it.
Fantastic. I don't think I have anything else. So yeah.
I am looking forward to it. We'll be back next Thursday night. In the meantime, if you are a member of Zine Club, we've got last month's zines headed out the door. We're about to announce next month's zines. Also, we had some really cool ones. If you are a fan of Carve from Brindlewood Games, the Campfire Scouts game that we have coming out in Zine Club this month has unscenes and some phase play things that are very reminiscent of it. It's a Together We Go game, technically, but that plays very well with a lot of the things from CFB. So if you want to see some creepy things in the woods and some cool unscenes, check that out also too. Campfire Tales, it's a project we put together in the +1 Discord last year, and we finally got all the art and editing and other fun stuff done. But I'm super excited for people to get a chance to see it also too. And we will be back next Thursday to keep on playing The Between. Bye, everybody.